And I know you are dying to find out who the main stage speakers are going to be. We have their seats reserved right here. But we are so lucky that Chancellor Aviles Ramos has joined us here tonight. So I'm going to ask her to kick us off. Chancellor?
Good evening, everyone. Wow, it's so great to see this packed auditorium and our young people all ready to go. Give yourselves a big round of applause. So I want to thank everyone who made tonight possible, the Social Studies and Civics for All team, Jenna and the incredible team, thank you so much. And this wouldn't be possible if we didn't have the leadership to make sure that everything is in place and everyone is supported. So Dr. Mia Teresa Pate, Dr. Cordelia Veve, thank you so much for your leadership as well. Our partners at Mikva Challenge, the terrific school administrators and teachers supporting student voices, and of course, the many incredible, brilliant students who participated in the borough preliminary rounds and who were selected by their peers and student voice champions to represent their boroughs today. So this is the largest Soapbox event we've ever held in New York City Public Schools, ever. Each year, this program has grown, giving more students the chance to stand up and speak out on issues that matter to them and their communities. Many of you have seen firsthand how Soapbox transforms classrooms, turning them into spaces where students lead conversations on real-world challenges. By strengthening Civics for All across the city, we've created more opportunities for students to find and amplify their voices in meaningful ways. One of the most important responsibilities of public education is to prepare young people to engage in democracy. And that's exactly what Civics for All and Project Soapbox are doing, bringing democracy to life by giving students real-world opportunities to advocate for change. We must continue to create intentional opportunities for students to participate in civic life so they truly understand its importance and how it directly impacts them. I'm incredibly inspired by the students who are stepping up this year to speak out, including kindergartners, reminding us all that civic leadership has no age limit. And the work doesn't end today. This is actually just the beginning. So to our students, these speeches will not go unheard. Your voices will reach decision makers, community leaders, and your peers. And you can turn your words into action through Take Action projects. Through your commitment to civic engagement, you are proving that young people are not just the future. They are leaders right now. On a personal note, my own daughter, because of her civics engagement work in New York City Public Schools, she often tells me, so listen, this is why I think you should make this decision for us. And most recently it was around social media, and I said, that's great, but you're not performing in Soapbox, so this isn't a real forum. She didn't really like that. She didn't really like that response. But I bring her up for two reasons. One is because I'm so proud not only to lead this school system, but as a parent to get to see the incredible work that our educators do every single day through my own child. When I was Chancellor Banks' chief of staff, this was one of his favorite moments, one of his favorite things to visit, and it's also, as a humanities teacher, one of my favorite things to witness as well. So I'm going to make sure I don't miss it, even though I can't stay for the whole thing, because your voices are incredibly important to me, and I want to thank you for that. So keep using your voices, keep pushing for change. More than ever, our society needs all of you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Samaya Walker, and I will be talking to you about littering. Lose the litter, love the land. How would you feel if the world was full of trash? Littering is gross because it brings rats and bugs to your community. We could all get sick, and that would harm our neighborhood. Would you want to live in a world where everyone is sick? Me neither. Litter pollutes our water and causes plants to die. Plants provide us with oxygen, so how will we breathe without them? Litter is like a bad habit, easier to drop but harder to stop. Let's keep our neighborhood mess-free. Picture this. Kids taking their garbage or picking up litter and putting it into trash cans or recycling bins. They can reuse, reduce, or recycle. For an example, one time I took a plastic bottle and made it into a flower pot for my mom on Mother's Day. If the world was mess-free, grown-ups would be picking up their garbage and helping the community too. We can make signs so everyone would know to pick up their trash and help this world be a cleaner place. So let's leave the litter for last and work together to clean up for ourselves and our community. Thank you, and bye.
Hi, my name is Divine Desmond, and I'm really worried about our planet and climate change. So this is what climate change is and how it can help. But first of all, what's climate change? Climate change refers to significant lasting changes all around the world's climate, particularly an increase in global temperatures due to human activities. This phenomenon is primarily driven by the buildup of greenhouse gases, GHGs, in the atmosphere, such as CO2, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, N2O, methane, CH4, which traps heat from the sun. Climate change is no longer a distant threat. It's happening now, all over the world, and we're seeing the consequences unfold before our eyes, like how Earth is shaking. Glaciers are melting, shifting landscapes and rising sea levels are changing the very ground we walk on. Look what happened in 2005, when Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast, costing over $125 billion just to repair damages and to reshape entire communities. People said that was a once-in-a-lifetime storm, but then came Harvey in 2017, dumping 60 inches of rain on Texas. And in 2017, Maria devastated Puerto Rico. And in 2018, Michael became the first Category 5 hurricane to hit the Florida Panhandle. And in 2020, we had so many hurricanes. We ran out of names and had to start using the Greek alphabet. It's like Mother Nature said, oh, you thought that was bad? Hold my hurricane. Again in 2021, the Pacific Northwest, a place known for its mild climate, saw temperatures soar to 116 degrees Fahrenheit, 47 degrees Celsius. That is not normal. That is dangerous. People who live in places like Oregon and Washington, where air conditioning isn't common, they suffer through record-breaking heat, and that claims hundreds of lives. In 2022, Europe had its hottest summer recorded in history, with wildfires raging from Spain to Greece. And in 2023, China reported some of its highest temperatures ever, with heat waves lasting for weeks. Again in 2023, Canada had one of its most devastating wildfire seasons ever. That smoke was so thick, it traveled for thousands of miles and turned New York City sky orange. People joked that it looked like something out of an apocalypse movie. But there's the thing, this is not a movie. This is real life. Farmers are struggling to grow crops and cities are facing water shortages. Look what happened in 2025 on January 7th in Los Angeles. More than 24 people were killed and more than 15,000 homes and businesses were destroyed just from a handful of wildfires. What can we do? Well, I don't want to leave you feeling like we're all doomed. We can still fight back. We can still reduce, reuse, and recycle. We can reduce the amount of trash we have every day, reuse what is reusable, and recycle as much as we can. We can switch to energy efficiencies and turn off lights when not needed. In conclusion, climate change isn't only a problem for scientists and activists. It's a problem for everybody. I remember when I was 7 years old in second grade and I was the leader of the green team. Climate scientists and activists, as I said before. Let history remember us, not as the people who stood by while the world burned, but as the people who fought for a better tomorrow. The question is, do we keep ignoring the warnings, or do we rise to the challenge? The choice is ours, but choose wisely, because together we can reduce, reuse, and recycle. Together we can restore, rebuild, and renew. Together we can save our planet. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Liliana Prasad, and I am a 4th grader at PS 164. Today I will be talking to you about misinformation on the internet. Are you like me after a long day of school? One of your favorite ways to relax is by watching YouTube? Well, once I saw a YouTube short that had mentioned one of my favorite YouTubers had died. I felt devastated. Minutes later, I found out this was not true. This is an example of misinformation and the effect that can have on kids like me. We might think misinformation is not an important thing, but it is and can affect us in many ways. It can affect our health because during the COVID pandemic, the Department of Health and Human Services led to people to decline vaccines, reject public health measures, and use unproven treatments. Misinformation can have people leading to negative ideas about groups of people. PBS News explains that during the 2024 presidential election, misinformation about Haitian immigrants led to multiple bomb threats, school closures, and growing fear within this city. Without misinformation, people would be able to make healthy decisions using true facts. They would treat people kindly because they would not have negative ideas that are not true. So, how can we fix this problem? We, and I mean anyone who uses social media, should question what they see. Is this coming from a good source? Can I find this information in other places? We can also talk to our teachers and trusted adults. When we hear something that seems wrong, we should ask questions and challenge it, even if it comes from a friend. But a big problem a lot of kids face is knowing if something is misinformation. I think a bigger thing that needs to happen is that kids need to be taught about this in school. According to Scientific American, 84% of kids can't even tell what's misinformation. And I talked to some kids in my school, and they agreed that it's difficult with me to know that misinformation and real information to tell the difference. So, what does this mean? It means we need to be shown how to think about what we see on the internet and how to recognize false information. This needs to be taught in schools because even adults can accidentally believe misinformation and pass it on to kids. That's why we need schools to help. All NYC schools have to teach digital citizenship, but from my research on the NYCPS website, this is only one lesson once a year, and I do not think that is enough to help kids deal with issues. So we should write to the NYCPS and explain why we need more lessons to help kids deal with issues. We could also reach out to the programs on the NYCPS website and ask them to create more lessons and resources for kids. Now, don't get me wrong, I love to watch social media like YouTube, but I only watch it for entertainment because most things on social media are not true. And when I come across things that are made to look like facts, I ask questions and do research. Let's take action. 1, by taking responsibility and closely paying attention to what we see. And 2, asking to learn more about this in school.
Good evening. My name is Vivian Du. Today I will be giving a speech on no more racism. I don't want to die because of what I look like. Can you imagine going to have some fun that ends your life? Can you imagine leaving your home and never coming back? I don't want to feel as if being who I am is wrong. My race is my identity, not someone else's plaything. Most people think racism is just segregation or discrimination. They aren't completely wrong either. But the word racism has a lot more meaning than just discrimination. We have the lines that racism has drawn over people. As an example, we have Patsy Mink, who created more equity for all students. A large quantity of people enjoy participating in various sports activities. So imagine if your team had a disadvantage comparing to the opposing team. Her passion for justice led to her becoming the first Asian American woman to serve in U.S. Congress. We are impacted by her actions, but have you ever heard of her? Did you know that hate crimes can kill people? Hate crimes can and will kill people, past, present, and future. We all know about getting small wounds like a cut or a bruise, but how about intentionally killing someone because of their race or ethnicity? I was the victim of a race-based hate crime once. Some people came up and started saying racist things. I wasn't as injured as some people had been and will be, but it still felt wrong, like being Chinese was just bad. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, 52.5% of the hate crimes in 2023 were based on the victim's race or ethnicity. The exact number of victims harmed by hate crimes based on their race was 6,227 people. I want you to think about that, because in 2025, I want that number to go down. I want that percent to go down. I want racism to end. Wouldn't you want a world where no one died from intentional killing because a person with a weapon believes that their skin color is good or not? I need everyone to come out of the world they are living in and make it better. We need to learn more than what our textbooks say. All of us are people. No one is more or less of a human being. We are human beings, and we always will be. No one is better or worse than anyone else. As James Baldwin once said, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. We can all start by starting to notice the subtle acts of racism in our everyday lives. We can also advocate for change like Patsy Mink. We should get out in the streets and protest for the change we needed a long time ago. If you're sitting there thinking, well, racism doesn't affect me, I want to tell you one thing. Racism will affect you. It affects you and everyone around you in any way and every way possible. Think of a world where there is no hate, no death, no reports in the news of acts of segregation or discrimination, no redlining. A world where I do not need to deliver the speech because that world has people that will listen to the most basic requirements. But that is not the flawless fantasy world we live in. So we need to take action and change our lives and the lives of everyone around us in a good way. I want racism to end. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Beatrix Ritter, and today I'll be speaking about book banning in the U.S. James Baldwin once said, "You think your pain and heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world, but then you read." It was books that taught me the things that tormented me the most were the very things that connected me with all the people who were alive and who have ever been alive. According to the American Library Association, the 2023-2024 school year recorded the highest number of book bans in a single year since the ALA started keeping track, and the highest number of unique titles banned. In a single year, there were 10,000 book bans. What are book bans? Book bans are when schools and libraries restrict a book, removing it from library shelves and prohibiting it from being taught or read in schools. Why would this be important? Who cares if we as American students can't read a couple books? Revisiting the James Baldwin quote I previously mentioned, books can connect us with other people and shows that we are not alone in our experiences. Book bans, however, sever those connections and leave us thinking, in Baldwin's words, that our pain and heartbreak are unprecedented. Who is responsible for these bans? The vast majority of books banned last year were instigated by national groups with massive funding and a political agenda. The top 3 most challenged books last year were Genderqueer by Maya Kobabe, All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson, and This Book is Gay by Juno Dawson. All 3 were banned for having LGBTQ+ content and being sexually explicit. There is clearly a pattern. I am a part of the LGBTQ community. I rely on books so much. Books that feature underrepresented voices help me and teens across the country feel that we are not alone. Book bans are a powerful tool for groups that want to take essential rights away from the LGBTQ community. By erasing stories of our experience, book bans attack the very validity of our existence. I believe that my generation is full of outspoken activists. We will not be taught to think that the way we are is wrong, because we are not wrong. I'm calling you to action. It can be hard to know how we, as teens, as individuals, can have an impact, but book bans take place at the local level. You don't have to be an adult to speak at a school board meeting, where many decisions about book bans are made. No matter your age, you can use your voice to protect your right to read what you want to read and be who you want to be. Read banned books. Thank you.
Send these homeless tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. These are the words on the base of the poem on the Statue of Liberty. They're meant to be awe-inspiring, hopeful, as a beacon of light for the immigrants that enter this nation. According to the Joint Economic Committee, 1 in 6 workers and 1 in 4 small business owners are immigrants. And yet, we as a nation are actively pushing them away. In terms of the economy, self-employed immigrant business owners are being denied financial services and other loaning practices because of their immigrant status. And so, these small business owners, who by the way make up 25% of the small business owner population, are falling into deep, inescapable holes of debt because they are barred from the proper financial services that they need to survive as a business. And in terms of housing, the effects of redlining are still prevalent in today's society, and especially in immigrant communities, and especially in my community, the Bronx. We have seen redlining affect immigrant communities by barring them from social mobility, and it has become harder than ever to engage in social mobility because of how hard it is to secure affordable housing as an immigrant. And so why should these hard-working immigrant communities have to navigate the lasting scars of policies designed to exclude them from opportunity? And finally, in terms of transportation, the abysmal state of public transportation in the United States has made it harder than ever to keep a job, and this is especially true for immigrant communities. Why should a 20-minute car ride have to take 2 hours because of the state of public transportation? And let's not ignore what's going on in current events and what's going on in the news today. Many unlawful deportations have affected immigrant families. We have seen this become ever more prevalent as Trump's presidency goes on, and as more and more people begin to antagonize immigrants and portray them as evil or as un-American. But we know this isn't true. We know that immigrants are part of American society just as every other citizen is in this country. And those immigrants who are deported, by the way, they're deported without any kind of trial. They're deported without any kind of due process or legal oversight. And isn't one of the key principles of our nation is that every citizen has the right to a trial or due process? Yes, exactly. These deportations are an attack on our Constitution. They're an attack on the principles of democracy that make the United States of America. Most, if not all of us in this room, are a product of our country's immigration system. And so you can help as well. Organizations like the Immigrant Justice Center provide legal aid, financial assistance, and affordable housing for immigrant families in need. You can volunteer at these organizations or simply spread the word, because this issue isn't just isolated in New York City. It's across the nation. Like, I'm going to be real, but our nation has been shaped, developed, it's pretty much been created by the immigrants of our nation. And like, it's going to still continue to be developed by the immigrants in our nation. And so if we do not stand together as a country, if we do not recognize that we are in this fight together, then how can we secure an affordable future for the immigrants of tomorrow and for the immigrants of the future generations? We must fight together now. Thank you.
Were you ever in a situation in which you had to smear a classmate's blood on yourself and play dead to hide from a gunman at school? No? Well, 11-year-old Mia Cirillo did. According to CNN News, Mia, an 11-year-old survivor of the Robb Elementary School massacre in Uvalde, Texas, feared the gunman would come back for her, and so she smeared herself in her friend's blood and played dead. Imagine you yourself were in that position at just 11 years old. Many kids in the United States are left traumatized, not only because of how many of them have experienced school shootings. Virtually every week, we hear about traumatic events happening within our schools in the news. How do you think I feel after participating in active shooter drills at school throughout the year? Mia was quoted as saying, "I was scared the gunman would come back for me, and so I dipped my hand in the blood of my classmate who lay next to me already dead, and then smeared the blood all over myself to play dead." The safest place for kids to spend their everyday time is their school. According to sandyhookpromise.org, there were more school shootings in 2022, 46 to be exact, than in any year since the Columbine High School shooting in 1999. This mirrors America's border rise in gun violence as it emerges from the pandemic. This need not be the case. By addressing these causes of violent occurrences and putting into practice tried and true tactics that promote a positive school atmosphere, we may create a safe and encouraging educational environment free from gun violence. According to everytownresearch.org, every year more than 4,300 children are shot and wounded, and over 17,000 more are shot and killed. But imagine a world where all kids can wake up and go to school in the morning feeling safe, never being paranoid that their life could be taken. We can all do something to help solve this problem today. Owners of firearms must be held accountable if a child underage can access it. According to sandyhookpromise.org, nearly half of all parents with a weapon in their home wrongly believe that their children don't know where the gun is stored. Some kids even receive weapons as gifts from their parents for Christmas or even birthdays. 75% of firearms used in school shootings are from home. Holding owners and kids accountable for their actions would be essential to sanction a more secure and safe school environment. Citizens can take time to create a petition for the government to hold adults over the age of 18 accountable when minors are able to access illegal firearms. I encourage you to support protests and petitions. Visit change.org today and sign one of the thousands of petitions that have already been created to end school shootings in this country. I'd like to leave you with a quote from Dr. Amanda Gorman. "It takes a monster to kill children, but to watch monsters kill children again and again and do nothing isn't just insanity, it's inhumanity." Thank you.
Have you ever been so worried about an upcoming quiz or assignment that you couldn't sleep? Of course, the lack of sleep then makes you even more anxious and annoyed. I mean, I know we've all come to school tired at one point, even me. But for some students, this exhaustion isn't just a one-time thing. It's a constant cycle of stress and declining mental health. Students can become tired from burnout when they are under a bunch of pressure and don't have the right resources to support them. In our schools, student mental health concerns represent a quiet epidemic. For many students, stress, anxiety, and depression have become daily challenges. Less than half of students receive the necessary support, and nearly 1 in 5 suffer from a mental health illness. Look around you. That could be someone you know. For our friends, classmates, and maybe even ourselves, this is more than just a number. A student's capacity to succeed academically is directly impacted by their mental health. According to a study published by the Journal of School Psychology, students with anxiety or depression frequently have worse grades, higher absences, and a higher chance of dropping out. This isn't only about school. This can affect a student's life. Poor academic performance due to mental health difficulties could hold you back from opportunities, from college admissions to getting a job. Now imagine this: your future, your dreams, your opportunities, all slipping away. Not because you were incapable, but because you were drowning in stress and overwhelmed by the weight of school and personal struggles. Above all, students still tend to blame themselves for their failures when in fact, they should be provided the help they need. Students put a lot of pressure on themselves to perform well in school and fit in socially while also dealing with personal problems. Some schools disregard the welfare of their students and only concentrate on grades. Students then ultimately feel overburdened and scared to ask for help. Our high school years especially can feel stressful as we prepare for transitions to college or professional fields. Instead of feeling prepared for the future, many of us feel like we're just trying to survive the present. With so many obstacles to overcome, how can we expect students to succeed and create the future we need? And let's be honest, in my case, telling African parents you're stressed is a whole other story. They'll hit you with, stressed? Back in my day. Then continue to tell you a story about how they fought a lion to get to school. As if that magically makes your stress disappear. Instead of trying to understand you, they compare your stress to theirs to make it seem as though your struggles aren't as important. But our struggles are important. That is why it is so crucial that we prioritize mental health support in schools and provide students with the help they need to manage both personal and academic challenges. Because no one should have to sacrifice their future simply because they didn't have access to the help they deserve. There must be a change. First, schools should offer free mental health services, including support groups and counseling. This can help students talk about their needs with someone who can actually help them. Because while it's nice to have friends to talk to, they might not have the right advice for you. Second, mental health literacy should become more known. Schools should teach students how to manage stress, anxiety, and other issues that can negatively impact their mental health. For example, schools should focus on equipping students with time management strategies that can help alleviate some of the stress that comes with stress and managing many things at once. If students are able to understand and recognize signs of mental health illness and eventually learn how to manage their mental health, they can become the best versions of themselves. Finally, we as students must speak up for ourselves. We have the power to establish an environment that prioritizes mental health rather than treating it as an afterthought. If you or someone you know is feeling overwhelmed or struggling emotionally, talk to a trusted adult that can provide support. If we take action now, we can help students thrive, not just in school, but in life. Together, let's make mental health matter.
My name is Ophelia Angel Sanilal, and I'm here to speak about gun violence. This piece is entitled, Shatter the Silence. Take a seat at the round table you built, legs made of guns of various forms, surface made from bullets you let fly. Hit, shot, killed, our grandmas, our grandpas, our mothers, our fathers, my sister, our brothers. Gun violence is defined as any act of violence that uses a firearm to inflict a gunshot wound on a person. That person in a twisted turn of fate was my sister. Every action has an opposite and equal reaction, Newton's third law, right? Well, I can't even begin to unpack how much she has suffered at the bank of a bullet. Now, allow me to clarify and provide you with these statistics. Between the years of 2014 to September of 2023, more than 4,719 people were murdered. At least 80% by firearms. More than 3,775 extraordinary brains, inventions, and leaders were stolen to the cold embrace of bullets from society. Our evolution and development are in jeopardy. Your future, our future are held at gunpoint. I'll let that sink in. Do you not see the disabilities caused by a silent permission? Can't walk or move, greatness sealed in dirt? Your tongue lead you down the path of corruption because you won't speak up. Why are we sitting in our own filth, following the cycles of violence? Silence. Violence silent the youth of today's nature, falling back on the nurture of bang, pow, and the famous rat-a-ta-ta. It's funny, eh? How we cope with all this soul pollution. Laughing, because that's all we could do, right? Because it won't take we on, right? Well, let me play Miss Doctor. A 16-year-old played doctor. A child played doctor. Here is your prescription. Speak. S-P-E-A-K. Speak. Your tongue, God bless you with. Use it. 87% hit, shot, killed. It have options. Sign the petitions. Think about our leaders. Fund the research. The buyback policy is a thing, a legislation you should back. Take the time to get the education. You want change, so be part of the solution. 60% forever changed. Lucky or maybe unlucky enough for the bullet not to end it. Years of rehabilitation yet expected to bury the hatchet. Anxiety, PTSD, depression riddle the bones. Stop wasting your time scrolling. Advocate for mental health. Use your gosh darn phones. Imagine you could walk outside your house and the only thing you're getting hit with is breeze. Go to work and when you come home you see your kids and your spouse. When the only loud noise is from fireworks on 4th of July, Independence Day, Diwali, Christmas Eve, and old years. When the only puncture to your body is when you get your ears pierced. How we could play in the park not fearing the semblance of a metallic monster, the bite of bullets on tender flesh, where only bodies of souls stolen by old age and illness lie in caskets of Obesh. When Tanti say, amnesia should have hit the man who first created gun, and I tell him, reverse up the road, we don't want none. We say good riddance to all his suffering. No guns, no bullets, no wounds, no hurts. My message to you, my beloved family, break the barrier of the bullets we let fly. Stop the bullets. Shatter the silence of violence with action. Hit, shot, killed our mothers, our grandmas, our grandpas, our fathers, my sister, our brothers. My name is Ophelia Angel Sunilal, and I bear the message of tough love because I care. Thank you.
Hi. For the first time, the train is silent. It's the morning of November 6th. I knew it would be difficult after the election. But for a city characterized by loudness, I expected arguing, yelling, anything that felt like a normal reaction. But it's just quiet, and I think that's worse. Most of the women have red-rimmed eyes, either from crying or from lack of sleep. Logically, I know we're safe for now as New Yorkers, but then I make eye contact with a woman a little older than me, and suddenly I'm falling apart. I cry for what this morning would have been like if I was raised in my home city of Fort Worth, Texas. I cry for my family in Dallas who had to wake up and experience it for themselves. I cry for Yoseli Barnica. After a 6-week abortion ban passed in Texas, doctors refused to treat her for 40 hours as she underwent a miscarriage on account of the fetus still having a heartbeat. Within days, she died of infection, a death deemed by experts as preventable. When Ted Cruz, the senator in Texas who imposed the abortion ban, was asked about Barnika's death, he responded by saying the ban was perfectly reasonable. In both cases, the cause of death was deemed natural. To these lawmakers, abortion is murder, but a woman's preventable death is a necessary loss. Cruz was reelected the same night as President Donald Trump. I understand why the train is silent now. Despite the protests, the petitions, and the speeches, nothing has changed. Our voices feel devoid of strength. But as hard as it is, I will not stop speaking. If you are able to, I urge you to take action as well. Donate to women seeking abortion care, directly providing them with the resources to cross state lines for potentially life-saving treatment. Donate to private abortion clinics, specifically in the South, where they are often the only access local communities have to reproductive and sexual health care. Join organizations like the Center for Reproductive Rights, which facilitates campaigns and events based on abortion advocacy. They've also helped secure both global and national landmark court cases for abortion rights. Finally, vote for officials who won't systematically kill women with perfectly reasonable legislation. Fight with me for a world where Yoseli Barnica, Yennefer Alvarez Estrada Glick, and 18-year-old Nevaeh Kane from Texas, Amber Nicole Thurman and Candy Miller from Georgia, and Tasha Wilkinson-Sebeski from Indiana didn't have to die. A world with equitable healthcare, full bodily autonomy for all, and an emphasis on humanitarian federal policies, where women are protected regardless of state or income, where women's lives aren't disregarded as collateral damage. Thank you.
So I want to say something that I learned tonight, minus my tissue in hand. So my name is Dr. Mia Teresa Pate. I'm the Chief Academic Officer for New York City Public Schools, and tonight has been a stone cold groove for me. My one regret is that I didn't bring my high school son with me to experience this in the way that I have. I'm thinking about opportunities where we can expand this, because we figure out how to publicize and get on television, all of the things. But tonight should have been a night that we figured out how to air this so every New York City parent across New York City public schools could bear witness to what students who are advocating for their beliefs look like, sound like, is like. Because for me tonight, I'm so excited that democracy in this room is a what, people? A verb.